wild podcast appears. Host uses intro. Hello and welcome to episode 22 of the Nintendo Jump Podcast. We are a weekly discussion podcast created for Nintendo gamers by Nintendo gamers. It's the week of November 19, 2018. This is Sergio, aka Lieutenant Search, and today I am once again joined by Daryl.
That wasn't very effective.
And Kevin.
What's good, everybody? What's good, Lieutenant Surge?
Number 22, Fearow, the big Pokemon. Fearow is a large, mostly brown avian Pokemon with broad, powerful wings. It has a long, pointed pink beak. Fearow's large wings and stamina allow it to fly for an entire day without landing.
Shout out to Fearow.
Wow, we went there.
And you know what? Shout out to one of my favorite basketball players, Taj Gibson from the Chicago Bulls. Well, he used to be on the Bulls, but now he's on the Timberwolves. But, man, I have his jersey, number 22.
Ooh.
Not 5 feet away from me, but about 15 feet away from me. So I wear it with pride with my team, Tri-City. Boom, baby. That's all I got, though.
Nice. Fitting.
Yeah.
Fitting.
Shout out to Taj.
That does relate to Pokemon. I see it.
It does, yeah. 22, man. One of the best numbers in the world. So,
Palindrome, too.
well, yeah.
So, as you might have guessed from that special intro, today we're taking a deep dive at the recent release of Pokemon Let's Go Pikachu and Pokemon Let's Go Eevee. We have a great question from listener Lucy that has to do with Pokemon as a series and the hype and potential sales impact that these two games could have. That's coming up in a bit, but first, Daryl has a couple of games to tell us about. So, Daryl, what do you have for us?
Oh man, the hot tag there. Okay, I have been playing a little bit of Dead Cells lately, and I felt like we should probably bring it up. And the reason I thought that is there's been a couple ranking sites lately that have listed some of the best indie games on Switch, and one in particular actually listed it as number 1, the best indie game on Switch.
Whoa.
Yeah. So I saw that, and then it's kind of weird. Rogue Legacy got put on sale, so I thought about picking that up, and then that somehow led me back to just picking up Dead Cells. So I just grabbed it. So what it is, it's basically I always get these terms wrong, so I apologize, but it's a roguelike. So every run of the game is you start from the beginning, you get as far as you can. There are some permanent upgrades, but mostly you're just going for the single run and whatever weapons you have. It plays, a lot of people have been referring to it as Metroidvania.
Mm-hmm.
I don't really see it, to be honest. It just plays kind of like a 2D action game to me. There is some exploration, but for the most part, the areas are fairly segmented and kind of self-contained. So, but what I can say is I didn't know what to expect at all, and I'm actually having a lot of fun with it. It's actually, hey, turns out it's a good game, guys.
Nice. You know, just from some gameplay videos, that was my first impression. This game is heavily inspired by games like Hollow Knight. It reminded me of that one, like right away. But I guess it makes sense that it's being a roguelike, it's not as structured as a real Metroidvania game.
But is there a story, though? Is there a plot line to this whole situation? Because, I mean, when I think of Dead Cells, I mean, there's got to be a story, right?
So there's a lot of lore, and there's a lot of world. I don't think I'm deep enough to really see, like, a real story. You play as this character that basically he doesn't have a head, and he can't die. So you keep that's kind of their reasoning for the roguelike version, is that you just kind of, every time you die, you just kind of spit back at the start and you start over. Now, what's weird about it is that the map changes a little bit every time. So you're not running through the same areas. You're running through the same area types, but there's small changes here and there, especially on where the weapons are, what weapons you get, what upgrades you can get, where the enemies are, that kind of thing. And Sergio, you brought up Hollow Knight, and I think that is something that I really wanted to talk about. It's a really good comparison. In that, so going back to my discussion on Hollow Knight, terrific game. Didn't really hit me the right way. Just I didn't like the feeling that the game gave me, as far as it was kind of this gothic, dark, broody world, and if you stay in it long enough, it just kind of stresses you out, right?
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Dead Cells, the reason I waited so long to kind of jump in on it was I was a little worried about the same thing. I kept hearing it was a very hard game, which, to be honest, I kind of like. But I kept hearing it was hard, and you start over a lot, and watching videos, the art style is a little interesting, and there's there's a little bit of blood and some gory things and such. Not terrible, but it's there. But what I found is it's actually, for whatever reason, despite being kind of more overt in the actual presentation of, I'll say the adult themes, whatever, it's actually more lighthearted than Hollow Knight was by like a wide margin. So interestingly enough, it's just a lot more fun for me to play. So that's refreshing. I was a little worried about it when I was picking it up, and decided to go through with it anyway. And it's just, turns out it's a lot of fun. Particularly, so also going back to the Hollow Knight discussion, I said probably the most important thing for a Metroidvania to have is tight controls, a character that you like to actually control in that world.
Yes.
And while I don't think this is a Metroidvania, it does have some of the same type platforming and same type gameplay that a Metroidvania does. And I'll say this game controls fantastically. Like, you have just enough options to do pretty much everything that you want. You have a double jump in the midair. It doesn't go super high, but it is helpful. There's tons of different weapons that all control very, very differently. You can choose between bows and shields and all different kinds of swords and things. And it's just, it definitely checks the box that this is it looks really good. Like they've done some really cool things with their animation strategy, where the best way I can put it is it just looks like there's more frames of animation than most games have. Like, every time you do an attack, like the character actually follows through with it, and you see them move as if they would. Whereas a lot of games just kind of skip some of the steps there and get to the actual meat of the actions. But now here, everything looks really good. It runs really smooth, and all the weapons control differently, but they all feel pretty good. So, ultimately, right now, like I said, I'm a little early in it. I got past the first boss. I'm working my way on the second boss, who kind of housed me the first time I got to him. So, I'll keep you guys updated. But so far, good game. As is, the reason the list with it as number 1 on the system surprised me is that it actually beat out Celeste.
Yeah, that's pretty interesting. I mean, like, I would think that Celeste would be like in the top of the charts. I mean,
Celeste was, I think, number 4 on that list, or something.
Whoa,
like that, which frankly is a little crazy to me. I understand some people don't like the game, and that's fine. But so I picked it up, and this game is not going to hit me as hard as Celeste did. It's not going to resonate with me or be as high on my personal list as Celeste was, but it's a fun game. Also, shout outs to Celeste for being nominated for the Game Awards Game of the Year, actually.
Yes.
Yo!
Game of the Year, Games with Impact, Best Indie Game, and Best Music Score. So shout outs to Lena Rain.
Nice.
There we go. I mean, definitely deserves that praise. And I mean, we've talked about before how Celeste is a must-play game. And for those who haven't played it,
play it.
Y'all gonna miss out if you don't. You're right. You gotta play it. Don't miss out. Let's play it.
But I don't want to discredit Dead Cells, because honestly, it's been kind of a pleasant surprise, which is, it's funny to say after it's gotten all these rave reviews from everywhere else. But for whatever reason, I was a little hesitant to get it, and I'm glad I did. I'm having fun with it. The only thing I can say in a negative sense is that being a roguelike, sometimes you devote about 30 minutes or so in a run, and then you just die in a very bad way, and that's
right.
That will always be a little frustrating. I have seen some stuff in the game that leads me to believe there will be shortcuts and such, in a little bit. I hope that's the case. So if they do add shortcuts so you don't have to continue to wipe the floor with the first boss and things like that, that'd be nice. But we'll see.
Nice. And that always happens. You find out about an older or oldish game that you just missed out, and then you get the opportunity not only to play it and enjoy it, but to share it with others. So it's definitely nice.
Yeah, for sure. What is your favorite weapon to use in Dead Cells?
So far, and so there's a couple combinations I really like.
Mm-hmm.
Basically, the weapon structure is you have a sword type weapon, like some sort of you're not held to this. You can have 2 bows if you want, but typically you have a melee weapon, a long range weapon of some sort, and a couple grenades or traps or things like that. So you can. In terms of melee weapons, the one I like so far, it actually doesn't do that much damage, but it's the lightning whip, which just kind of homes in on enemies by itself. So that makes some of the little frustrations with flying enemies and such a little easier to deal with. The other ones I like are the ones that give you special bonus for certain attacks. Like I got one that if you land an attack behind an enemy, it actually does critical damage. So then you plan your strategy around that, and that's kind of fun. In terms of the ranged weapon, by far my favorite one. It looks like he does the animation kind of like a Hadouken, but it's actually like this gigantic shotgun blast of freezing stuff, and it actually freezes the enemies like in ice, and then you have some time to actually go around and clean them up. But it's just a cool looking attack. It works really well, and there's some bonuses on the other weapons that actually stack if they do more damage against frozen opponents and stuff. So it's a pretty deep system. I'm actually pretty impressed with how well everything kind of works together.
Oh, nice. So yeah, definitely keep us posted on your progress and your final thoughts on how you end up enjoying the rest of the game.
Yeah, next week. Still haven't beaten the second boss, guys.
Yo, how many bosses are there?
I have no idea. I haven't spoiled anything for myself, so I'm just gonna keep not doing that.
There you go.
Sounds good. So with that, let's go ahead and talk about what Pokemon versions we got.
Yeah.
So first off, Daryl, are the rumors true? You didn't get any of them?
Well, I got Pokemon Let's Go Not Buy This Game. No, I did not pick this one up.
Ooh, Deco, use U-turn. It's super effective.
Oh man. But you know what though, Sergio, I know you picked it up, and how do you like it so far?
I do. I like it. But
cool.
Daryl, if you had to choose, if you really had to, which one would you pick or choose?
Well, of the 2 versions?
Yes.
Being Pikachu and Eevee?
Choose wisely.
Being the best Pokemon ever and also Pikachu?
Oh, here we go.
Eevee forever.
Whoa!
Eevee forever.
Yo. Great choice. Isn't that cool, Sergio? He chose the right.
Yeah, you're with me, right, Serge?
Yeah, Serge, right.
Just leave it a choice. Leave it a
No.
choice.
All right.
Well, I did get Pikachu, so I did do the right thing.
Oh man,
Nah,
here we go.
Just kidding. Sergio just jokes.
Need to step away from. Oh man, yo, that was pretty good.
This episode's going places, guys.
Jokes.
So I did get, the Pikachu version. My Pikachu is a lady. I almost named her Pikashly, but I came to my senses before I did that.
Is that a thing? Why? I don't understand.
But I was thinking of just going with Pikachu because she's a she. But maybe we'll see.
You didn't go with Pikachu Libre?
Yo.
Oh, of course.
Did you know the heart-shaped tail indicates it's a female?
Oh,
that's right.
Fun fact. Hell yeah.
All right. So honestly, what do you actually think about the game so far?
Well, it's complicated because I forgot. I kind of got lost in the hype a little bit, and I forgot that this is meant to be a bridge game, between people that are playing just Pokemon Go on their cell phones and people that prefer their traditional Pokemon experience with the core series that we get a game usually like every 2 years. So being a bridge game, there's things that you like, things that you don't. I'm not the biggest fan of the catching mechanics from Pokemon Let's Go, but everything else is just as I remember. Pokemon, the battles and choosing the types, it's all
Really?
there. Just the
Mhm.
mechanics of the catching, it's different, and then the way you get experience is also different. So as long as you don't forget that, like I did, you should be fine.
Yeah, and just by looking at how the catching mechanic works, and you can actually gain experience points for all of the Pokemon that you have in your party. You actually get more experience points from catching than you battle, so it's a pretty interesting thing. And
Right.
you know, I mean, the graphics they blossom really well in this game. I really still like the exaggerated, facial expressions when when like the trainers who you battle against lose a battle or something, and then Brock, man, I saw that X pose, and I know everybody's like, well, you've seen that pose a lot in previous games, but I gotta say, Wakanda forever, like Black Panther. I mean, that was the first thing I thought about when I got the game. That's right, I got Let's Go Eevee. On who I think is on the right side, and just initially I was gonna get the game. I was very stubborn about it, and then I gave in. The barrier cracked. The doors opened. I'm like, fork it. I couldn't take it. I had to go to Best Buy, with the 20% GCU,
Nice.
which expires next year. So, you
Boom, 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 boom.
still have the Best Buy card. You gotta use it. So, got the game, played it for 2-3 hours over the weekend, and yeah, I like it so far. I think that it does a good job with nostalgia. It hit me hard so well, if that makes any sense. And it's, I mean, yeah, and then just like catching all the Pokemon, and then I'm trying to get a shiny, like holy shoot, like, and then it's cool. I really do like it so far. It's definitely not for the hardcore, like, oh, gotta have that same exact formulas type of thing. It is like what Sergio says, like a bridge between the casual and the hardcore style of Pokemon games, and I think it's just really relaxing to play, and just being able to, just go through your journey, catch Pokemon, battle, and see their ridiculous facial expressions when you lose, and and yeah, I'm having a good time with it so far, so I can't complain about it.
So you guys both said it hits you kind of in the nostalgia area. You talking specifically for nostalgia from like Red Blue or something else?
Sun and Moon. No, I'm just kidding. No jokes. Hell no, not. And I apologize for those who really like Sun and Moon. I personally didn't like it, and which we'll get into later. We'll get into later. But it definitely hit me hard with Red and Blue because back in fourth grade, it was the biggest thing since sliced bread, and we were 10 years old, and like everybody in school knew about Pokemon, man. Like just everybody was so into like the monsters and the journeys and like going through the gyms and just talking about it in person. Like, oh, what kind of Pokemon do you have? Oh, well, how come Scyther's not in that game? And it's just stuff like that. And it really it was just it's really a cultural phenomenon. I think it still is.
Yes.
But in '98, man, that was just like the key. Just having everyone together playing this game. And unfortunately, and I say unfortunately because a lot of people did not play the second generation after that with Pokemon Gold and Silver. And I'm probably getting way too much into this because we're gonna our listener mail, or that the one person who asked that question is we're gonna get into that in a little bit. But yeah, for now with Pokemon Let's Go, I just red and blue, or green. No, red and green is because green is it's in Japan, right? Like I think
Yes.
it wasn't red and blue. Yeah, so it was red and green, but red and blue specifically in the States. So man,
Yeah, and Daryl, that's a really good question because I would say it's sort of double nostalgia in a way. there's the regular, it's a new Pokemon game kind of thing, and tried and true, and you're doing basically the same thing. That's half of the nostalgia, and then you're back in Kanto, and it's a very, very faithful remake of the first generation of Pokemon. That just makes it double nostalgia, and it makes it awesome.
No, that's cool. I mean, I'm gonna show my hand a little bit here, and I'll admit to something. I've never been a Pokemon guy. Like, I have played one Pokemon game ever, and it's just not. I don't know. I like RPGs, and I even like what it's doing as the simplified RPG. But I played it like I just played through it, and I didn't really worry too much about trying to catch them all and all that,
Right.
or anything like that. So coming into Let's Go, I'd be lying if I said I wasn't at least intrigued by it, just because kind of this rethinking of what Pokemon is kind of I don't know, that's an interesting prospect, because they haven't truly done that with the series very often.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know, it's just it's one of the big game series that I kind of missed the boat on, I think.
Yeah, and it's all good if whether you're into Pokemon or not. I mean, I can understand why you would feel that way, because the formula of just catching these monsters and just battling with them and stuff. I mean, it doesn't always appeal to everybody. I mean, I guess from my standpoint, it's just like, oh, they're just like these people that, or not people, like these pocket monsters that could be your friends. And I mean, when you're a lot younger, it just appeals to you more because it's like it's larger than life. And I think as you get older, I think you start to think about other types of RPGs that with like maybe more so with teenagers or adults who are facing real hard challenges. And so when you think about Pokemon, it doesn't always appeal that way, if you know what I mean. Like, because Pokemon's always going to be that same formula of like just going through your journey and catching monsters and becoming the best that never was or ever was. And
yeah, I mean, I think I just may have put my finger on the actual issue there, because I started thinking about and I'm sorry for mentioning this again. It's coming up a lot lately, but I started thinking about Golden Sun. I started thinking about the gin in Golden Sun, and I really did want to collect. Every time you go to a screen and one's on there, you're like, oh man, I got to get him.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
gotta get the gin, man.
And the reason for that was all of them actually had like they were all useful, right? And you picked them up, and instantly your party was better because you picked them up, and you could do something else with Isaac, and you have this ability now, and it's awesome. So that there was this huge reward for it, versus Pokemon. A lot of times you're going around and you're kind of led to, okay, you want to catch this Pokemon, but it's you kind of know it's not going to replace any of your top 6. So
Right.
I'm sorry, you don't have Zubat yet. You're not going to add Zubat to your party. You're not. So I'm just not going to get all excited about it,
No, I know what you mean. I mean, like,
I've got freaking Pikachu and Zapdos and like all these awesome Pokemon in my party, and I'm not gonna I really don't want Weevil.
well, I personally had Weevil in my top 6 in one of the games before, so I really enjoyed having.
Should I have gone Metapod there?
Oh, man. So
How about Butterfree? Let's do that.
Butterfree, man, that one episode of Pokemon, man. Bleep. I don't know why. Just sometimes I think about those episodes in the first season of Pokemon, and it just hits me as a little kid at the time. But man, I don't know. It's just hard to describe. There's a lot of things with Pokemon that just hits you with just not just nostalgia, but also just a feel good kind of thing. And
Yes.
it sometimes it's good to have that. Not all the time. Personally, for me, I'm like a Metapod. I'm more hardened now. I mean, I don't really like to have all that sort of feel good stuff all the time, just because I'm more interested in a variety of different games and with different settings and story and moods and stuff. So, but a Pokemon game, you're guaranteed a good time. I mean, it's just like a safe bet.
Yeah. And before we move on to the listener question that we talked about, Decoy or Daryl's point makes me wonder: is are these games a good jumping on point? Because, like we said, it's a bridge game, but it's also a remake of the very first generation, and it's really well done. They don't tweak pretty much anything on it. They keep everything classic from Yellow, and it's all there. So I do wonder. I mean, if somebody brand new to the series comes here and doesn't really enjoy the way the catching works, we just hopefully there's a way for somebody to explain. Well, this is a bridge game between the mobile game and the real games where you
Mm-hmm.
actually catch in the classic. I would say more fun and more challenging way too.
Yeah, and I think it would appeal to kids now, like 2018. If you're like 19 years old, or maybe, or if you're a preteen, I think that it will definitely appeal to that generation. I mean, just like how it appealed to our generation back in when Pokemon Blue and Red came out in '98 in the States. So
Yes.
I think it really just depends on your audience and who you talk to. But I can tell you for sure though, like some of the friends that I know who have the Switch, they bought Pokemon Let's Go because they wanted to feel that nostalgia again. They wanted to feel like they were back when they were little kids and just really charmed with the Pokemon thing and having those companions with you all the time. And I am mixed about the hype that it should or shouldn't have gotten, but it. Anyway, I'm gonna say I can't. I keep going to that. I keep going to that. It's just like, I know we got the listener mail question, and I apologize for going ahead of myself, but it's just, Anyway, Sergio, what is our listener mail today?
Nice. So it is by listener Lussie, and
Mm.
here we go. So Lussie used submission of question via email, and the the question reads, "Hi guys. By the time the next episode is aired, the new Pokemon Let's Go will have come out, and my question has to do with that. It's a long question. I'm really looking forward to it. I've been into Pokemon since I played Red and Yellow in the early teens and watched the anime every Saturday morning. However, the next time I actually played Pokemon again was when the 3DS made it possible for me, and since X and Y, I've enjoyed being in the Pokeverse again. I'm far from a hardcore Pokemon gamer though, and that's why I think Let's Go will be perfect for me. I'm more like a Pokemon enthusiast. The main point of Let's Go is nostalgia, approachability, happy gaming, and lots of challenge at the end for completionists. Sounds like my deal, and I'm hyped, but I feel like no one else is hyped. Even you guys said about Valhalla, play it until Smash comes out. It's a Pokemon game, it's a console seller, it's a hugely successful series, and Pokemon Go still has millions and millions of active gamers. Yet Nintendo has given like 30% of the directs this year to Smash and have barely mentioned Let's Go. I had to find out about a new video release in the Switch news page. I think this general lack of interest from everyone is mirroring Nintendo's own blanking on the game, but I don't understand why. Generally, Pokemon gamers are informed about the new mainline games, but this game has the potential to sell games and consoles to millions of kids and me right before Christmas. So I guess my question is, bloody hell, Nintendo, why aren't you getting everyone hype about this new Pokemon game that at the moment has an over 80% rating in Metacritic and in many ways seems cool as fudge?
Oh,
Let's use rage.
this is Ray. And Lazzy, I'm just gonna be real with you. Like, there's a really clear reason why it's not as hyped as it should be, and it's just because the history that Pokemon had. Like when it first came out in 96, 98, it really started a cultural phenomenon, and people were so inspired by just the friendships that you can get with from Pokemon and be able to use them in battle. And then when they started remaking these games in different generations and adding more Pokemon, like you would think it'd be pretty cool, and it was cool to a certain point where, yeah, like there's all these Pokemon, but there's so many, and then they are reusing the same formula over and over again, and don't get me wrong. I mean, if something works, why break it, right? Why change it? But I think at some point with the Pokemon series, like I honestly, for me, I felt like even after like the 5th generation. And this is coming from someone who played all the generations except the 6th generation. So it got stale. It really got stale. Just the same formula again of going to gyms and trying to be the best ever. Like it was very repetitious, and like it kind of lost its luster, to be honest. For me at least, and I'm not the only one who thinks this way. Like I've had friends who played pretty much like most of the generations, or even all of them, and it doesn't have the same excitement experience as it did back in when it first came out in the late 90s. I feel like there's so many other games out there, and with Pokemon, I mean, even there's like Yokai Watch. If you guys heard of Yokai Watch, I mean that's pretty popular in Japan too, and like I'm not sure if they were inspired by Pokemon, but it's pretty huge, and like there's just so many of these sort of things out there. Like it's hard for Pokemon to really adapt and change for the better. And what I do want to say though, and I'm sorry if I'm going on for long, but I do want to say though, Pokemon Go was a smart darn move. Like I remember summer 2016, like everybody played Pokemon Go, man. Like like it was just I've heard people, okay, who got dates from Pokemon Go. That's legit, bruh. Like that is honestly a reincarnation of the cultural revolution that Pokemon has done for video gaming, for kids, for everybody. And like goodness gracious, I mean, and for you, Sergio, you said that millions of people, or no, not you, but sorry, Lassie said that millions of people still play Pokemon Go. Like heck yeah, I have people in the office who still play, and people that I know online who still play. Like it is still a huge thing, and that love is still there. But I'm just saying, from given my experience with playing the RPGs and the competitive battling, and I even had experience where I would spend so much time trying to get the perfect IVs, the perfect like stats for my Pokemon, until one of my friends said, "Hey, you can use a program to just get the perfect Pokemon you want, and then you can compete with them." I'm like, really? That killed it for me, especially competitive battling. Like that you don't know like how that broke my heart, because then I felt like I wasted 300 hours of my life. Okay, just because like just for a program that can just give me the perfect Pokemon. And when you're a competitor, like you always want the very best.
Like no one ever was.
Right, like no one ever was. Do I regret that experience? No, but I feel pretty crappy for it, because then it's like, man.
I kind of want to jump in, just because there was a lot there, and even going back to Lucy's email. First of all, called me out a little bit for the Brawlhalla comment. I stand by that. Actually, Brawlhalla is a pretty fun game. It's free, and I've been playing it a little bit. It's a very, very shallow kind of Smash Brothers game. So you get what you pay for there, but you don't pay anything. So it's not bad.
Yeah.
So those are my comments on Brawlhalla. For Pokemon, I think what you're feeling is, and this is a little bit painful, but I think what we're feeling is that Pokemon is not for us anymore. And it started out being that when we were that age, and it stayed at that age. Now, I'm not saying that you can't get enjoyment from a Pokemon game. There, absolutely no judgment. I play games that I played when I was 8 and 9 all the time, and I still enjoy them. So I'm not holding Pokemon to a different standard, but I do feel like the development teams are, in that, and the best analogy I can put to that is watch the Pokemon anime. If you watch the anime, they run through the same stories a lot, over and over and over and over a lot, because what they're doing is they're kind of, okay, this generation of kids is going to associate with this generation of the Pokemon anime, and then they're going to grow up and start watching other things and all that. So now we've got to reset it and grab the new generation of kids again, and Ash will never, ever win the championship. But, it's the same thing with the games. I feel like they keep resetting them, and they kind of get away with a lot of Pokemon games are kind of extremely similar, because, the target audience is continually shifting downward to generations. And honestly, if you think about that, that's kind of a really cool thing, in that, kids are always going to have an entry point into Pokemon. And I've seen people call Let's Go the entry point into Pokemon. I mean, I guess, but every game is. I mean, you know, it's Pokemon's a fairly friendly series anyway. So I don't know. I think what you're feeling is just that. Yeah, the industry itself doesn't seem very hyped for Pokemon because of two reasons. One, a lot of the people in media have, you know, we've all played Pokemon. I mean, this is what, the second or third time we've gone back to Kanto. I mean, this is, you know, we're reliving the reboots now. You know, it's a little self repeating on us.
Yeah.
And 8 to 10-year-olds, 8 to 12-year-olds are not going to be really watching, you know, listening to us for Pokemon advice, or really watching any major news site. They're just going to know that Pokemon is coming out because it's being advertised, and it is. I was in Target yesterday, and they've got this big display of the new Pokemon stuff, and oh, by the way, here's the toys and cards and stuff right beside it, you know. Like, it's being leveraged, it really is, and it's being hyped up, but it's kind of under where we're actually looking. Like, if you're looking for Nintendo to hype it up to us, I just think that they are like, well, you know, if the people who need to know about Let's Go are gonna know, because they, you know, they revealed it at one Nintendo Direct, and then they also included it at E3 that year in a pretty wide segment. So I feel like they put out quite a bit of footage for a game that, honestly, there's not a whole lot of different footage that they want to show before the game releases, you know?
Right.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I think my point is, Nintendo is hyping it, or Nintendo and Pokemon Company are hyping it enough, just in different places than you might expect, and that's it's a little weird to be an aging gamer at this point.
No, but I mean, for sure, and to go with what you said, I do agree and think that there was a lot of promotion for it leading up to the release. You know, I noticed there was a new trailer for the game. Like, I want to say there was one every 2 weeks for a couple of months. So there's definitely a lot of that. They had a lot of Pikachu parade events in Japan. I know some of the members of the development team went to different parts all over the world just to partake in launch events. So, you know, they definitely care. There was even an Eevee dance video.
Yeah.
Yeah, I saw that. Oh man.
At first I didn't watch it, but eventually I did.
That's terrible.
Yeah. Oh,
no.
Eevee dance.
I'm gonna have to take you down.
I just think with the Pokemon games, I mean, and hopefully the next gen Pokemon game coming out on the Switch is a huge success. I hope so. As a fan and just as a gamer in general, but like, I mean, with the same sort of story over and over again. I mean, okay, I know Alola's different because of the whole island thing, and you're trying to conquer the islands. But I'm gonna tell you right now, man, I did not like Sun and Moon. All right, I did not, because like, you have to pet your Pokemon every 5 seconds. Like, I'm sorry, that is just, like, I spent 23 hours, okay, 23 hours playing the game, and 14 of those hours was just petting on Pokemon. Okay, like, just so I can battle, just so I can get that extra advantage. And you know what that tells me? That tells me that they're focused on all that fluff, the filler of going to this, you know, this imaginary. It's not imaginary, but it's like this is one area in the game where you can go into this carnival area where you can, like, you know, get more stuff for your Pokemon and make them beautiful and feed them and like pet them and stuff. Like, it was just so much, and it wasn't that simple anymore. That's why I didn't like Sun and Moon, and I felt that with the RPGs that they were, yes, the graphics are nice, yes, you know, they're trying, you know, a little bit different with the story, but when you're adding that much filler, and just spending a lot more time just paying the Pokemon more than battling, like, there's just something wrong there for me, and I just personally thought it was a turnoff, and that's why I didn't finish the game. And I know that people are gonna hate me for saying that, but like, I honestly just thought it was a turnoff. Like, it just doesn't work.
Just go back I just go back to, at a certain point, some of the design decisions are just not for you.
No, it's
Yes.
not.
Oh,
It's
yeah,
not.
yeah,
It's
yeah,
not for
Because
me.
because
And
kids eat that stuff up. You know that they do. We live in a world that Hatchimals is a thing. Like, there's
yeah,
a lot of design decisions that are made for people who are not gonna get on this episode and talk about Trails in the Sky. Like it's two different audiences.
Yeah. Hold on. Trails in the Sky's different.
I'm just saying.
I know. I'm saying. I know.
You are very hardcore into RPGs, and I don't know that Pokemon necessarily is that. And I might get some hate for this as well. I'm not trying to fire any shots. Like I said, if you like Pokemon, absolutely more power to you. Pokemon's a fun series. I get it. Like, you're not alone. But I do think that a lot of the complaints that I see people popping up about the newer games, more and more, I just feel like, well, no, I can see kids really liking these decisions. So, maybe it's just we're just at that point.
And it again just hurts me when I think about it because like it's like the Peter Pan effect. Like it never grows up. It's I don't know if that's the right thing to say, but like I feel like it's the Peter Pan effect where like it is gonna be the same formula and it's gonna appeal to kids like throughout generation after generation. So I think that way is good. For me it's like I guess it's a lot harder for me to really love the series like I did back when I was 9 or 10 years old, and I think what I ranted earlier just now, like it just shows my frustration at times. Because then, I mean, I still adore the series. It's just like it's just hard for me to accept that fact that Daryl said that it's not for me anymore. Maybe it isn't, but I still bought the game, and I mean I still like it. I don't love it. Sorry guys, but I mean it's still I know I keep it 100. So, but I still enjoy playing it, so I mean.
So let me ask you this: have you gone back and played one of the older games recently? I'm talking like Gold, Silver, or Fire Red, or something like that.
I did a few years ago. Not for like a few years ago when I I was trying to find the older game to play, and Gold and Silver was cool because like you were able to go to 16 gyms, not like 8. So it was a little different. So I thought that was really nice, and I had both Pokemon Gold and Pokemon Silver. So
thanks to Iwata.
Right. Shout out to Iwata. And it was. I think that was like the best like old school Pokemon game because 16 gyms, and there was actually slightly more depth in the story. Like it's 3 years later. Right, I think it's 3 years later, right, where Red and Blue are like Blue owns like the Viridian City Gym, and then Red is like the he's at the mountain, he's
Right.
like the last challenge, and then there's at one point where Misty was with her boyfriend, and then you try to talk to her, and then like the boyfriend runs away. I think, right? I don't know, like it.
No,
I don't know why I remember this stuff.
My point was, I feel like if you went back and played the games that you kind of started with. I feel like those would still resonate with you, and I don't think that the point I'm making is not that you have grown out of Pokemon. The point that I'm making is that you've kind of grown away from the current design philosophy, because I think they're doing things for kids now that's not where you want to be. Does that make sense?
I think you're right. Yeah, I think that's why I feel this way, and that's why I spent like 1,000 hours just now ranting. I mean, like it's just like, yeah. I feel so strongly about this because like Pokemon does have a special place in my heart, and I guess at some point I have to accept that maybe it's not for me anymore. And at some point it was, and it was really fun, but now that I'm a lot older, and I have different interests, and it's like that one thing I don't want to let go. But I mean,
it's that one thing you don't want to let go.
Yeah, oh my god. And then
no, I mean, and just to speak as the resident non-Pokemon lover, every time a Pokemon game comes out, I kind of eye it, and I'm kind of like, I wonder, and I just end up not picking it up. So between Let's Go and the one coming out next year, I'm still gonna be considering it just as a let's see where this series is. I'm mostly just curious at this point.
Right. Well, To me, I agree with pretty much everything that you guys have been discussing, and I just feel like since I've been, like Kevin said, Pokemon is like a culture of its own, and
Mm-hmm.
I've been there from day one, and I still play all the mainline games, and I feel like it's a series that I can definitely nitpick, and I know everything that's bad about it, and there's a lot of it.
There's a
But I
lot, yeah.
forgive it. I forgive it easily, very easily. Like I would
Mm.
even say too easily, because I'm always there.
No,
That's
no,
that's
yeah,
fair if you actually like it.
mm-hmm. No, it's
if
totally understandable.
if
I
you're
mean,
one of those players that like keeps going back to it and like, man, I hate this game, then we might have a problem. But as long as you're actually having fun, there's not really a bad way to do that.
that was me for Call of Duty for a while. A while, like it's the same formula, but we still bought it and played together multiplayer with my college housemates. I mean, it man.
Yeah, but like it's easy. It's
Mm-hmm.
repetitive. It's a weird kind of boring that you like, and that's how I feel. Like
Yeah.
I've always picture. So winter is my favorite season, and there's almost always a Pokemon game during the winter. And if there isn't, it doesn't feel like a real winter to me. So that's how big it is.
Interesting. Oh wow. See, I've never heard anyone said that actually. So
So you're
like,
saying it's a real winter this time?
Yes.
yeah.
And funny enough, last year I did not play Ultra Moon because a lot of the reasons that Kevin listed. I appreciate the things that Sun and Moon tried to do. I
Mm-hmm.
really do, but I wasn't a fan per se. It's very hard for them to try to appeal to kids today and also try to change it up enough for the longtime fans to be interested and to keep at it. So it's very difficult. I appreciate what they tried. It wasn't my cup of tea. So I did not play the game that was out last year. And honestly, yeah, the winter, I hardly remember any of it.
Oh man. It's like, wow. Now that you put it that way, I mean, wow, the real winter. I mean, with Pokemon, like, okay, there's that one thing, right? The Z move. I didn't really like that. That was just. I thought. I'm sorry, and I know, and like I said,
Welcome to this episode of Kevin Hates Pokemon.
I'm sorry, guys. Y'all gotta hear from me about this because, like, I just feel like it's. I don't think it
I
was a
mean,
good design decision because,
it
excuse me.
it's okay, and I just think it comes down to, honestly, it just comes down to if these are the games that you like to play. And if they're not the games that you like to play, then why are you playing them?
That I asked that a lot actually. I have such high expectations for Pokemon, and maybe they're unfair, but like, I just feel like at some points it's like I want this to be better, better, better. Like grow with me, not like
Mm.
stay at the same place. And is that unfair? Yes, it is unfair. But I mean, I'm not the most rational guy when it comes to this sort of game, but like, it. I think it's just my heart just always feeling like, okay, well, maybe it's gonna be better. Maybe the new Pokemon will just hold pretty much, give me enough excitement to play through the game. And in this
Yes.
case, Sun and Moon didn't do that. Like, I wasn't that attached to those Pokemon, and I mean, credit to Great Game Freak. Like, they have to constantly think of new Pokemon, like generation after
Yes.
generation. Like, that is
My
really hard to
goodness,
do.
yes.
I mean, wasn't there a story back in the first Pokemon game where the creator, like, he almost didn't make it. The game had a small chance of like just there was a small chance that it would actually become what it is now, and like he beat the odds. Like that's incredible.
Hmm.
Like the idea of having like being a trainer and having these monsters with you, like it is such a. I'm sure back in the mid '90s, like I'm sure there was a lot of skepticism that was met. He just pulled it off, and like, man.
Right. I know, and it's true. And here we are talking about the newest game or potential bridge game, and it sounds to me like you're kind of being forgiving of it too. But you know what's bad about it, but you are there, and like you said, we're really hyped for the next core series game already.
We are,
And
yeah.
if it tries different things and we don't like it again, we're gonna be hyped for the new one, the one after that. So it sounds like we're in it for life, and
No,
that's not
I
bad, you
think,
know.
yeah, it's not bad at all. Oh, man.
And when you think about it, a lot of things don't rely or don't use nostalgia as well as Pokemon does. There's things that we still like from our childhood or our younger years, and it just doesn't live up to today's standards or even to our nostalgia. But I think Pokemon does, and that's why we're
Mhm.
still talking about it.
Oh, Ash, man, when is that guy gonna like become an adult?
Never. Never, ever.
Never ever.
No. If you want to see Ash become
uh,
an adult, you should watch Digimon, not Pokemon. Very different.
Oh, see, that's a series I never got into, I wish I did, but I mean, Pokemon had all my attention, so I mean, oh man, and Magic the Gathering, but that's different. Anyway, so man, Pokemon, like, and lastly, I know we talked a lot. I know I ranted a lot. I hope that answers your question. And I do apologize. I said this like 7 times already, but I do apologize if what I said came out a bit strong. But that's how I feel about Pokemon. I know, and I'm not the only one who feels this way. I'm sure. Like,
send all emails to NintendoJumpPodcast@gmail.com.
yeah,
I will forward them directly to Kevin. So
yeah. I mean, I welcome anybody who wants to ask more about why I feel this way about Pokemon, but I mean, this is probably the most real I've ever gotten about a certain game. Like and it's just like something that has affected my life personally, even through depression, even through like just wanting to be accepted. I think that's why I really enjoy playing Pokemon, even now, even though I didn't like Sun and Moon, but I still bought it. I still played enough. I still pet the Pokemon every 5 freaking seconds, like no joke, like, oh man. But for me, if you have enough time, if you have enough in your wallet, definitely play Pokemon Let's Go. If you are a fan, if you are a Pokemon fan, you should play Pokemon Let's Go. Give it a shot. And if you don't like it, just trade it back in. Like just buy it. Like I'm serious. Like I'm not joking. Like get a physical copy, try it out. If you don't like it, you can just sell it back or something. Cause then, and yeah, at least, or if you really like it, just keep it. Like I'm keeping mine. I mean it. Like
Nice.
Team Eevee and like, and I caught Pikachu in the Viridian Forest. So I mean I'm all good. I got both. So I mean
Nice.
yeah. So. That was, for me, a long-winded answer. You guys made some really good points, and Daryl, especially with you, it's not for everybody. If you're an older person,
Well,
like
no game is for everyone, and everyone will always like certain games that may fall out of their particular demographic. That's okay, and I'm not in any way condemning that. Look, I'm ridiculously excited for a new Smash Brothers game, just because that's just who I am, and I would be for a new Zelda game or a new Mario Kart or whatever. So the fact that anybody is for Pokemon, that makes sense. Pokemon is, if not Nintendo's number one, probably in the top 3 pretty easily, in terms of sales numbers and how well they do. So I mean, you're in the majority if you like the series. It's not.
Yeah,
I'm not in any way condemning anybody for it. It's just one of those things that I do think they really, really market it to kids, and they really want kids to continue liking it and having their own version of it. And I just kind of expect that to continue.
Yeah, no, that's a good point. It's I mean, gosh, I'm accepting this fate.
The next Pokemon is going to have like all the dances from Fortnite in it. It's going to be really cool.
Oh god.
Why can't they have a Pokemon breeder game? I mean, because then, I mean, if you want to pet Pokemon every 5 seconds, like, that's your game. I'm sorry. I mean, I'm sure there's a lot more than just petting the Pokemon, but I mean, I think that'd be a pretty awesome game. Like, even like being a Pokemon contest.
Reminds me of a Happy Home Designer.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, there we go.
and from what we hear, the game is selling well, and there's also that bundle with really cool colored Joy-Con, by the way.
Oh, don't even get me started with that. Oh my gosh, like
I almost bought it too.
Really super duper extra quadruple quintuple whatever. Like I really wanted those Joy-Cons, and dang it, they only sell with the bundle. I'm like,
yeah.
man. And then I saw someone on Facebook, man, she
No.
got the bundle as an early Christmas gift to herself. And I was like, yo, I am so excited for you. Welcome to the Nintendo Switch family. And I don't even talk to this girl as much anymore. But she was someone that we went to after school with back in high school. And just the fact that she went out her way to buy the Pokemon's bundle, I mean, that's also awesome, you know. And
Mhm.
I'm really happy for that, for her and for others who get the bundle. So,
Nice.
I
And here's hoping. I mean, Pokemon is huge. Eventually, I'm really hoping that we're able to buy them individually.
I hope so too, because boy, oh boy, I would love a pair of Joy-Cons like that color, with the Pikachu yellow, the Eevee golden yellow-ish. I mean,
Yeah.
I think I'm being too greedy because I already have 2 sets of Joy-Cons that I know. Slap me, but it's just like they're so nice.
Double slap.
Double slap. Oh. Oh man. Okay.
But just to go back to Lucy's point about the potential lack of hype, I don't know. I mean, it like Decoy said, or man, like Daryl said.
It's like 8 this episode.
Yeah.
All right, for anybody who listens to this but does not actually check our Discord, I am known as Decoy DW. That is why we have all these.
So, like Daryl said, a lot of it has to do with the Pokemon Company marketing to kids. I think a lot of it also has to do with people that pretty much immediately decided they're gonna buy it. So they're already hyped,
Yeah.
when they announced the game. I was on that camp. So it may seem like there's no hype, but the sales are there, and I mean, if we're hoping that Nintendo reaches their fiscal year goal of 20 million Switches, and if they do it, it's gonna be because of the Pokemon bundle.
And for those who are conflicted, like fans like me who have played through the series and have mixed feelings about Pokemon, and that is why the hype is not as big as it should be. And I think that in certain cases, yeah, it should be hyped a bit more, especially for the kids who they're trying to market to. And I think Daryl definitely hit on the head with the fact that it's a game that may not be for us anymore. Hard to accept, but life goes on, and I'm gonna stop being philosophical now. So,
But yeah, thank you, Leslie. That was a great question. I would even say it was a critical hit.
these are just you're really doing a great job with these. Like,
I fainted.
oh man.
Nice. So, any last comments?
No, I am like spent out of things to say. I've ranted. I've said things. May or may not be the right way, but you know what? When you hear from me, it's gonna be 1,000%, not 100 anymore, 1,000%. So, goodness, I'm done.
Smash Bros comes out in just about 2 weeks. So hey, sorry, Lussie, I'm still hyped for Smash. I still am. Also, Decoy used. That's all I got.
That's all you got. That's all I got.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not sure if effective or not.
Nah, I don't think so.
But these 2 weeks are gonna go by extra fast with Pokemon. I would say that.
Cool.
And with that, let's go ahead and jump on out of here. So, thanks so much for listening. If you haven't done so, feel free to join our Discord group. There's a link to it in the description of this episode. You can also follow us on social media. We are on Twitter and on Instagram as NintendoJump. We have a Facebook group as well, so you can join us there. Our episodes are on YouTube, so feel free to leave us a comment about our thoughts on Pokemon, your own thoughts, how you feel about the series, if there's nostalgia too much going on in there, or whatever you decide. Or you can also leave us any comment about our podcast in general or any future topic ideas that you would like us to talk about. You can also send those to us via email at NintendoJumpPodcast@gmail.com. Please leave us a review in the podcast application of your choice. We would really appreciate it, and it would allow us to reach other listeners like you that would enjoy the podcast. Once again, this is Sergio, and on behalf of Pokemon Let's Go Daryl and Pokemon Let's Go Kevin, Thank you for listening, and we hope you have a great week. Bye-bye.
Take care, everybody. See you later. Or smell you later. Ooh, smell you later.
Eevee forever.
Yeah.